What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down the film of some NFL rookie wide receivers who are balling out at training camp. So I hope this video gives you guys some value. I hope it could teach you a few new things, but also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you would like to get faster and want 90-plus speed and agility drills that you can do, all broken down with the exact sets and reps to follow, and we organize the drills into specific workout plans. Check out that very first link in the description below for First Down Speed Training. We organize all the drills into playlists like you can see right here, so the information's easy for you guys to follow and easy to retain. So again, very first link in that description below if you would like to get faster. Let's get started with this video. So this first router is going to be from Tank Dell, and he is going to be doing something called a diamond release. So a diamond release is something that you want to use when you have to run a slant route and a DB is playing inside shade press coverage. So let's play this thing full speed. So Dell comes off the ball, attacks the outside shoulder, slips underneath, and then wins on that slant. Now you could use it on a slant, you could use it on a 5-yard like under, which is just pretty much like a 5-yard in route. Honestly, anything that I would say is under or at 5 yards and you have a DB who's lined up inside shade and press. Now, why would you do that? So let's talk about the DB's goals, right? So as a wide receiver, when you come up to the line of scrimmage, you're looking for two things on a DB. Number one, you're going to be looking for his leverage. So by leverage, I mean his like shade. Is he shaded and lined up slightly to the inside of you? Is he right in front of your face with not really showing a leverage, or is he outside shaded? Now, whatever his leverage is, he's trying to prevent any route that is going to that leverage. So if we have to run a slant route or a 5-yard under and he's inside shade, that's kind of a problem, right? Because that's exactly where I need to end up. So we don't have the space because, again, a slant route is a quick route. A 5-yard under is a 5-yard route. We don't have the space to be able to give him a move and then stack over the top, because that's how you guys would run like a dig route, for example, right? Like if you had to run like a 10 to 12-yard dig, you would attack this guy inside, you would take the outside release, and your goal would be to stack him, which is where this DB is trailing your back, hip, and your shoulders, right? But we don't have that luxury because the route's only 5 yards. So what we want to do is we want to pick a shoulder and a hip of the DB, and our goal is to try to pretty much flip him. Our goal is to make him think that we are running a fade, we are running a vertical route, and get him to quote-unquote open up the gate. When I can get this DB to open up the gate, that means that I have a chance to get separation back underneath. But he's not going to open up if I don't sell it. And that's what Tank Dell does such a good job of. Like, everybody knows Tank Dell is fast. Everybody knows he's explosive. So DBs are already on edge. He's got him thinking fade before the ball is even snapped. Now it just comes down to what he does on his route, because you want to try to avoid something called an indicator. So when Tank Dell gets up into this route, you see how he's attacking the outside shoulder, but he's maintaining his stride. So many wide receivers, before they break, they start to take these choppy steps because they're not confident in the break foot, in like the plant or the break foot or the breakdown, whatever the break may be. Obviously, we know Tank Dell's a great route runner, so he's got a lot of confidence. He's got a lot of twitch. He's got a lot of stability in his cuts, which helps him sell vertical. So that's something all wide receivers should work on. You should never neglect your cuts, your single leg strength, your balance, because it all translates to on-field play. Because when you guys can maintain stride, that doesn't give the route away to the DB. Now, a lot of guys, what they will do is, because whenever they cut, they reach way outside of their frame, they strike on their heel first, they will raise their chest. They'll pop their chin up in the air because they're reaching way out. They're over-exaggerating the cuts. That's another form of an indicator. So if you can avoid all that like Tank Dell does, you're going to get separation. You just need to know the right time to use it. So let's play this again, full speed one more time. Diamond release is what this is called, fellas, and that's the best time to use it. Inside shade press coverage guy when you have to run a slant or a 5-yard in, okay? So now, next route is going to be here from Zay Flowers. He's been killing it at training camp, obviously. Very explosive dude, very good route runner. And this is an example of a post-out route, and I want to talk a lot about his change of direction. So let's play this thing full speed one more time. So he comes off, breaks to the post, slips out on the out route, and it's not even close, right? Ton of separation between him and this DB. He does end up catching this ball. I know it's in the way, the field goal post, but there's another angle. It's just, you can't really see the break as well. But that is a hell of a route here from Zay Flowers. So let's talk about this, right? So anytime that you guys are changing direction on a route, because again, you guys might be watching this thinking, well, coach, I don't have a post out in my playbook. All my team runs are hitches, curls, comebacks. We run a lot of digs. Like, I don't have a post out. Why should I even care about how he's running the technique? While the routes may differ, the breaks will always stay the same. The way Zay Flowers gets into this break, you see how he's dropping his hips, he's being violent. Like, that's going to translate for you guys on any route. That'll translate on a comeback. That'll translate on a whip. While it might be different foot placement, and obviously it's a different route, the mechanics of the cut are still the same. Now, remember on that diamond release we were talking about with Dell, what was he trying to sell there? He was trying to sell a fade, right? So in this case, Zay Flowers is trying to sell like he's running a post, right? He wants this DB to think that he's running a post. He wants to overcommit so he could slip back out to this out route. Now, when you're breaking to the post, you would sell the post the same exact way that you're selling a fade. You have to run hard. You got to make sure you have good speed, good stride. You're not chopping your steps. You have good body language because that's what can get this DB over anxious, peeking to the inside, and we can separate. Now, like I said, all that's great. The speed, the stride, the pad level, all that's good. And I think every single wide receiver could get that part down. Like if you're a 6-year-old, I think you could get that part down. Now, where the 6-year-old's going to have some trouble, and honestly, anybody who doesn't work on it, is going to be the change of direction. And that's getting in and out of the break. Because anybody could self-fade. Anybody could run as fast as they can, but can you change direction while you're doing it, right? So when you guys have to drop into a break, the most important thing is that you want to think about the placement of your butt and the placement of your chest. That's where so many guys go wrong. So when the guys get into a break, they take these really hard steps with their feet, but a lot of guys don't change levels. They don't drop their butt down. So you have to understand when you don't change your center of gravity, fellas, it makes it very, very tough for you to change direction in the least amount of steps possible. Because you're going to change direction one of two ways. You're either going to get into the break and take all these choppy steps, beat the drum with your hands, and waste a whole bunch of time because you're standing really tall, or you're going to drop your butt down and quote unquote sit in a chair. That's what I like to say. I like to think of it like you're playing musical chairs and you're sitting right down in the chair. Because when you can sit down, that forces you to stop your momentum, stops your feet, or lowers your center of gravity so we can get out in less steps. When you're lower, you can make a cut in less steps and make it sharper. The goal is to make the sharpest, quickest cut possible. Now, a lot of guys will sit down like this, but they will slip, they will be off balance, they won't have any speed out of the break because of where their chest is located, like I mentioned before. So guys will sit down, but their chest will be straight up in the air, chin will be straight up in the air. It's like they're literally sitting in a chair. I don't want you to sit in like a chair where you have perfect posture. I want you to think you want to sit down and you literally want to touch your chest to your quads. If your chest can touch to your quads and you are sitting your butt down, that is a perfect position to maintain speed out of the break and not only stop yourself. So guys, that's where you want to try to get to. You want to try to get to that position, sitting down chest to quad as fast as possible. Think of it, somebody has a string attached to your chin and they're pulling that string straight down. If you can do that and you can get to that spot quickly, you will be able to change direction better while running full speed and selling your routes. Whether you're trying to sell a post or whether you were trying to sell a fade on a comeback, curl, hitch, whatever route that you have in your playbook, okay? So now, next route here is going to be from Jordan Addison, and he is going to be running a dig route versus a DB who is now lined up outside shade and press. So this is a very, very high level route. This is why so many people over there in Minnesota love this guy because of the routes that he's able to run. It reminds him a lot of Justin Jefferson, and he's a good 1-2 punch in that offense. So I want to talk about how this is a very high level route and how so many wide receivers need to do this type of thing on their routes. So let's watch what he does. He's running a dig. So he attacks the DB outside, takes the inside release, and he does a great job getting skinny. That shows that he knows how to run routes. And especially at the NFL level, like I'm a firm believer in this, and you could agree or disagree, but like every single one of these dudes is freaking outstanding athletes. Like you got to understand, like I don't know how many of you have ever worked out with an NFL player, especially an NFL wide receiver. Dude, they make it look so freaking easy when it's on the field. Like when you're running just like regular routes, there's no defense, no pass rush, they're not wearing pads. You think it's the best receiver you've ever seen. And then they get out there and they're maybe like a practice squad guy. And it's like, man, like that guy's on the practice squad. Like I'll never forget, like when I was playing, and this is when I played quarterback, we would train with this receiver and he played at USC. His name was Darius Rogers, right? And he would run a post route. And me and my quarterback coach would throw him 2 footballs. And he would be so smooth, so fast, and he would catch both footballs. He'd catch one with his right hand, one with his left hand, right? And I thought that guy was the best receiver I've ever freaking seen. He didn't even make it in the NFL. He got like a practice tryout with the Seahawks, and then he got cut a couple weeks later. Like that shows you how good these guys are. But that brings me to my point. What I'm saying is that like for them to have success with their routes, especially against these type of DBs, you got to have it above the neck too. Route running, I feel at that level is so mental, and knowing how to run your routes, how to react to a DB, how to set up a DB. And that is what I'm trying to get across to you guys that are in high school or playing youth ball. That's what you have to understand, because imagine doing that against a DB at the high school level who's not as talented. You're going to look like a superstar, and that turns some heads, right? So let's talk about that. What was Addison's thought process here? Now, I'm not going to pretend I'm in his head because I'm not, but this is how I would go about looking at it, and I feel this is an easy way to learn it. Whenever we come up to the line, like we were talking about with Tank Dell, what are we looking for on a DB? First thing is his leverage, right? So is he inside leverage? Is he head up? Or is he outside leverage? In this case, he's outside leverage, right? So what is his goal of being outside leverage? Stop the outside route. Don't give up a fade, an out route, a comeback, a corner. Don't give up any of that stuff. Force everything inside to where he has help. Now, I know this is one-on-one, so he doesn't have quote-unquote help, but a lot of wide receivers in one-on-ones, they run unrealistic routes. They'll tell him off the ball, and they'll just like round their route and just run across the field. Well, he was outside shade. I'm just going to run a slant. It's like, guys, like that's not hard. Everybody knows that's not hard. How can you make an inside breaking route realistic versus outside shade? Because in a real game, you're running right into his freaking safety, right? Because that's what he has. So you see off the ball, what does he do? He attacks him to the outside. He threatens his leverage to the outside. Make this DB move. Make him think you're trying to take an outside release. The best way to get a DB to move, threaten him where he doesn't want you to go. And that's why knowing his leverage is important. You want to look for his leverage and his distance, right? You see how Addison takes one step and attacks him outside? That gets him to move. Now, if this DB was maybe 3 yards away and Addison did this release, this DB might move, but when he bursts up inside, that DB's just going to cut him off because he didn't close the space. So you want to look for leverage and distance to come up with your plan off the line. So he attacks him outside, moves this DB. Now, he very easily could just run to the inside and break, right? But in a real game, what does he have? He's got safety help. So when we are bursting up, we have to do something called get skinny. Getting skinny means you want to run as tight as you can to this DB. You want to dip your shoulder. You want to lower your hips. You want to try to run tight and lean into this guy. Because guess what? While you are leaning and while he's trying to protect his outside leverage, because his sole purpose, don't get beat outside, what are you doing? You're creating a bigger window for the quarterback. You're not running right to his safety up. You're running into him, breaking, and look at all this room we have now before there's a safety that you're running into. You just take off and run, you're running right into this guy. This is a game-realistic route. This is a high-level route, and matter of fact, it's a simple route. He's not doing anything crazy. He's not doing some crazy-ass footwork off the line. It's a simple route that's efficient, that keeps timing, and that keeps spacing. So let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great job, Addison, attacking, getting skinny, making that DB think we're running outside, and then winning on the dig. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like 75 plus speed and agility drills that you can use to get faster, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on our first down speed and agility training. Again, very first link in that description below. I'll see you guys next time.